Welcome in this video of the House of Asian Cinema. With his black garb and shuriken, the ninja has established himself as an essential figure in popular culture. Its iterations take many surprising forms. Pizza-eating turtle living in the New York subway, enemies of Sami Nasseri and Frédéric Diffenthal in Luc Besson's Taxi 2, hysterical westerners based in Hong Kong and aiming for world domination fighting in colorful costumes.
Ninja. A lifetime spent training for revenge of one man's father and friend.
In short, the ninja has become a big mess. But it has not always been so. During the 1960s, in Japan, the ninja was a tragic figure which did not lend itself to comedy. In this video, we are going to look back on the golden age of cinema devoted to this mythical figure. Trying to trace the historical reality of the ninja is not easy, as popular culture has influenced the perception of the shinobi and tends to obfuscate historical reality. Even today, debates rage between the skeptics and the convinced. We will therefore content ourselves here with a very general presentation with intensive use of the conditional. We find the first written traces of the ninja in texts of the 14th century within the framework of the various wars which opposed the multiple Japanese power centers of the period. The use of mercenaries and the need to collect information on enemy clans would have led to the existence of specialists in this field, the ninjas, sometimes also called shinobi. In addition to information gathering, these mercenaries would have also been commissioned for other tasks such as agitation or targeted assassinations. It was especially during the so-called Sengoku period, a time of civil war that led to the unification of Japan and which extended from 1467 to 1615, that we would have found the greatest ninja activity. They would have mainly come from two provinces, Iga and Koga. It would be partly because of his expertise that Oda Nobunaga would have attacked and ravaged the said provinces in 1581. Among the most famous ninja of the period, there is Hattori Hanzo, a faithful servant of Ieyasu Tokugawa. Ninja would have participated in the most emblematic battles of the period, such as Sekigahara in 1600, then Osaka in 1615, which consecrated the Tokugawa family as the new and last dynasty of shogun in Japan. The victory of the Tokugawa put an end to the Sengoku period and allowed Japan to experience a long period of peace, which would seem to have put a definitive end to the activities of the ninja. But it was popular culture then that took over, conferring an almost mythical aura on the shinobi. As early as the 17th century, we find texts glorifying the exploits of ninjas who possessed resolutely supernatural powers. The shinobi naturally made their way into other art forms such as kabuki theater and became popular characters with the general public. Their image was formalized in the popular subconscious as these mysterious warriors dressed in black and endowed with magical abilities. It is therefore logical that, from the beginning of cinematography in Japan, the ninja quickly had the honors of the big screen. Thus, in 1912, Jiraiya Goketsu Tanbanashi, or Legend of the Hero Jiraiya, was produced, dedicated to the character of Jiraiya, a ninja capable of summoning a giant toad to his head. His exploits were popularized during the 19th century via multiple short stories. Other shinobi characters from literary folklore appeared in movies like Sarutobi Sasuke. Very popular with the public, these ninja films were produced regularly during the Taisho era. There were thus at least more than 40 over a period of just over 10 years, from 1912 to the mid-1920s. Already going through production cycles, the ninja's popularity eventually waned, only to see a resurgence in the 1930s in animated form. Unfortunately, natural disasters and the consequences of the Second World War condemned most of these films to disappearance. As was the case in the previous century, this figure of the ninja in the cinema was eminently fantastic. Magical powers and exaggerated martial techniques dominated the ninja film world. It would take several decades for popular culture to try another approach. The 1960s marked the end of the golden age of Japanese cinema. Competition from television would put an end to the dominance of traditional studios. But they did not surrender without a fight, and they released many quality works during this difficult period. And it was during this decade that the ninja again became an extremely popular figure in the Japanese archipelago. The starting point, we owe it to Dai, which produced in 1962 Shinobi no Mono. Directed by Satsuo Yamamoto, the film is an adaptation of short stories written by Tomoyoshi Muroyama and published in a communist newspaper. Set during the reign of Oda Nobunaga, Shinobi no Mono follows the journey of Goemon Ishikawa, a young man raised in a ninja clan who is given the task of eliminating the warlord. Satsuo Yamamoto's film laid the foundation for serious ninja, meaning getting closer to what appears to be historical reality and removing the vast majority of fantasy elements. Shinobi no Mono is therefore set during a specific historical period, the Sengoku era, during the reign of Oda Nobunaga, and the ninjas are shown as mercenaries from Iga. The characters are not overpowered warriors but trained agents using their brain rather than their muscles and eminently vulnerable. The tragic fate of the ninja is widely highlighted from the start of the film. The very popular Raizo Ishikawa plays Goemon. The historical characters of a petty thief who became through popular culture a symbol of the fight against authority. Here he is an idealistic young man who will realize the cruelty of the power struggles which agitate the country in general and its small world in particular, illustrating the emptiness of the code of the ninja. These two major characteristics, characters as resourceful as they are vulnerable and driven by a sense of sacrifice used by superior political forces, would serve as the basis for most films devoted to ninjas during the 1960s. The series itself continued until 1970 through 8 additional episodes, but of which only the first 2 sequels are directly attached to the first film. The success of the Shinobi no Mono series made the ninja popular again, and other studios soon followed suit. Toei thus produced 17 ninja in 1963. Yasuto Hasegawa's film follows the direction given by the Dai series of a relatively realistic ninja and an authentic tragic figure. As the title suggests, we followed 17 ninjas on their mission, the assassination of the little brother of the future shogun who intends to steal the title from his elder by force. Less ambitious than the founding series, the competitor of the Toei has the merit of a tighter plot and thus going to the essentials without getting lost in the multiple side stories of Shinobi no Mono. It is again the theme of honor and sacrifice that dominates. Even if they know that their mission is doomed to failure, the ninjas of the film go through with their task, showing incredible ingenuity. Their selflessness and the suffering they will face can only command admiration. By its configuration, Yasuto Hasegawa's film is also a real little catalogue of ninja methods and ways to counter them. A sequel will be produced by Toei 3 years later by Motohiro Tori with similar characteristics, where a group of Iga ninja must destroy an armory in order to prevent a revolt. Toei also produced Ninja Hunt in 1964, directed by Tetsuya Yamauchi. Set at the start of the reign of Ieyasu Tokugawa, the Gamo clan, formerly affiliated with the Toyotomi family, see its existence dependent on the receipt of a document by the new shogun. The latter sees an opportunity to get rid of this troublesome family and instructs his ninja to steal the document. The clan calls upon 4 ronins to thwart the actions of the shinobi. Unlike the competition, Toei seems to have preferred relatively simple plots for their films around ninjas. The Ninja Hunt therefore also goes straight to the point, quickly pitting ninja against ronins. The interest of the film therefore lies above all in the characters and the confrontations between the two camps. Each of the two leaders is ruthless, both toward its opponents and his own men, and the various tricks they use always capture attention. Some prestigious directors also touched on the subject at the start of their career. Such was the case of Kiichi Okamoto, known for his Sword of Doom, who made Roaring Clans in 1963. Here, a former ninja hunted by his original clan befriends several wanderers and finds himself having to smuggle a shipment of firearms. Okamoto's approach, both cynical and tinged with humor, suits the ninja film genre well, even if the director basically only used them as a somewhat exotic antagonist and does not really explore the figure of the shinobi. Obviously, the code of sacrifice supposed to animate them is totally mocked. Instead, the director concentrates on a gallery of characters as cunning as they are disillusioned, typical of his cinema. Not really a fundamental work in the exploration of ninja psychology, Roaring Clan is nevertheless one of the best paced and funniest ninja films. This was also the case of Masahiro Shinoda with Samurai Spy. Set shortly after the Battle of Sekigahara, the spies serving the Tokugawa and Toyotomi keep clashing before the final showdown between the two families. Sarutobi Sasuke is an agent of the Sanada clan who yearns for peace but finds himself unwittingly embroiled in the machinations of both clans. Shinoda decides to fully exploit the context of the time, both to multiply the political machinations and to describe the daily life of the inhabitants of Edo. Ironically though, while he places his story in a solid historical setting, he allows himself more freedom over the abilities of the ninja, which sometimes border on the fantastical. Mixing formal classicism and iconoclastic ideas from the Japanese New Wave, Samurai Spy is one of the most difficult ninja films of the 1960s to follow, but with a lot to offer for those who make the effort to dive into it. But the masterpiece of this period is very probably the Castle of Owls that Aichi Kudo made in 1963. Here, the action takes place during the reign of Hideyoshi Toyotomi. Juzo, a ninja from Iga, is hired to eliminate the warlord before he invades Korea. One of the rare ninja films of the period to have been shot in color, Aichi Kudo's work synthesized the best of what the ninja wave of the period could offer. Visually inspired, the feature film retains the idea of power struggle beyond the actions of the characters, and the ninja's need to sacrifice his emotions and even his life to achieve his mission. The film is enriched by the rivalry between Juzo and Gohei, a former ninja turned enemy, but unlike films like 17 Ninja, the two men like each other, which make their clash more emotionally interesting. To top it all off, Castle of Owls also features some of the most dynamic ninja-like action sequences ever filmed. If there is only one ninja film from this period to see, it is Castle of Owls. This ninja trend would eventually be noticed by foreigners. Thus, when the Agent 007 came to Japan for the 4th episode of his cinematic adventures, ninja were incorporated into the story. Their presence in You Only Live Twice impressed the audience and helped in their subsequent popularization throughout the world. What marks during this period of just under 10 years during which ninja films were very popular in Japan is the high quality of the works thus produced. Despite declining financial health, the studio still had quality filmmakers, scriptwriters and technicians, and were able to produce works that were both entertaining and with interesting themes. While the original Shinobi no Mono series is pivotal in reinventing these more realistic and dramatic ninjas, its overly convoluted storyline and episodic nature prevents it from being considered as the pinnacle of the genre. It is in the exploitation that we find some of the very best films devoted to the ninjas as tragic figure. This aspect was showcased brilliantly in the competing 17 Ninja series. One of the interests of the universe of ninja films is the political parallel that can be drawn from them. During this period, the ninja were assimilated to the common people, exploited by a system designed against them. They were a counterpoint to the return of a partially idealized view of samurai and the values of Bushido, as well as the Yakuza and their Ninkyo-like code of honor. Consequently, many authors who worked in the genre were from the extreme left. This was the case of the mangaka Sanpei Shirato or the writer Tomoyoshi Muroyama, the author of Shinobi no Mono. The complicated storyline of the work can only be understood with a minimal knowledge of the history of Sengoku, but also with a knowledge of the internal struggle that Japanese far-left movement experienced during the war, the 1950s and the 1960s. Many left-wing activists emerged disillusioned with these struggles and the inability of these movements to influence the country's overall politics. In this, ninja films are emblematic of their era of production. They also replaced in the collective imagination the ideas of ninjas as practitioners of magic. This more realistic approach had already been advanced through books and manga, but it was cinema that popularized it on a large scale. Without this cinematographic wave, it is unlikely that the ninja could have been exported internationally as it did later. The impact of this film was therefore fundamental for pop culture in the broad sense and for Japanese soft power. So if you like the figure of the ninja, do not hesitate to immerse yourself in these films which have shaped his public image.